Hey guys, it's Galson, also known as Pew Pew Pew. Almost messed up my words there. Welcoming you back to the next season of the GPC. This is season 7, I want to say. Yeah, season 7. Week 1. I haven't done a draft analysis, plainly due to time constraints, but as you can see, I've got the prep sheet going so you can see the matchup, and so I can go over why I picked what I brought, and hence you can see my full team. So there it is: the Zapdos, Weavile, Hippowdon, Megazam, Virizion, Blastoise, Kyurem, Steelix, Lycanroc D, and Avalugg. Kyurem and Virizion being the move users. For week 1, facing off against Will, who of course we faced off against last season, not last season, 2 seasons ago, and we ended up losing in an unfortunate circumstance. So hoping to get a little bit of poetic revenge here, but as you can see, he's got the team of Megalophony, Sylveon, Necrozma, Crobat, Alolan Muck, Roserade, Rotom, Alamomola, Tyrantrum, Mudsdale, Pyro, and Swadloon. He's got 3 poison types. He has only 2 psychic resists, well, 1 immunity, 1 resist, and I have a Mega Alakazam. So that was my first thought, was yep, Megazam, definite bring. As you could guess, because he has the Alolan Muck, you'll see in the I brought Miracle Eye. Unfortunately, I don't have a team builder because when resetting security settings on Chrome, all my cookies and data was deleted, so I don't have the teams anymore. So yeah, that was. I'll go over the sets when you see the team in battle. But yeah, Mega Alakazam was a definite bring for me. After that, I kind of expected him to bring his first 3 mons, Megalop, Sylveon and Necrozma, mainly because Megalop's always a threat. It's got a decent speed tier against my team. It's a good way of dealing with Weavile. Sylveon, mainly because it's a decent wall to special Virizion if I decided to bring that. It's also something that can kind of switch into a Mega Alakazam, kind of. But again, not safely. It would have also been a decent switch into Kyurem as well. Necrozma, just a good physically defensive wall, can deal decently well with quite a few things on my team. Virizion once again. Virizion generally didn't have a good matchup this week, which is mainly why I didn't bring it. I knew he'd bring Alolan Muck just for Mega Alakazam. He has to bring Necrozma and Alolan Muck as his only psychic resists. After that, I kind of expected probably Tyrantrum, maybe a Scarf set, not too sure, and Pyro was a definite bring for me because it was the safest way to break Steelix. Yeah, my mindset for this game was he probably isn't going to bring Mudsdale, so Zapdos is a definite bring for me because if he doesn't bring Mudsdale, he has no electric immunity. So I can just spam Volt Switch to my heart's content, and with that in mind, I decided to bring a Scarf Zapdos. Again, I'll go over the sets more precisely later. I also thought Weavile was a decent bring. The only thing that could really stop it was Alamomola. But even at +2, it takes a lot from a knockoff and can't OHKO me with Scald or anything like that. So Weavile was a decent bring this week. Only issue is, of course, Megalop outspeeds, and there's a lot of things that can sort of catch it off guard. Hippowdon, basically my best way to wall Megalopony. A defensive Hippowdon takes up to 42%, I believe, from a high jump kick, so adamant high jump kick. So it was a definite bring for me. It's just a solid mon to bring this week, and plus it gives me my second win con in Lycanroc D a sweeping option. So I brought Sand this week with a Smooth Rock. And finally, after Lycanroc D, of course, there was Steelix, and I'll go over the sets more in detail on the battle preview, so I'll see you there in a minute. Alright, so here is the battle, and of course the team matchup, as you can see. Once again, I'll go over the sets that I brought, mainly because the team builder is Bork. So I've got Miracle Eye, Megazam with Psyshock, Psychic, and Shadow Ball. I think it's modest, enough speed to outspeed Alopony, Creeping, Weavile. Steelix was specially defensive, impish nature though, was a way for me to deal with Sylveon among other things and not get OHKO'd by a Fire Blast from non-spec Pyro. And the Impish was just there to sort of live hits from Lopunny and switch into returns and stuff. Once again, defensive. That had, I believe it was Toxic and it might have had Stealth, Rocks and Raw, and Hippowdon was my Toxic mon. It was one of the two was Rocks and Raw, the other one was Toxic. I forget which way around it was. But yeah, Hippowdon defensive, as I said before. Swords Dance, I believe Expert Belt. Weavile with Ice Shard, Knockoff, and Aerial Ace. That was it for Lopunny in case for some reason I outsped it. Sand Sweeper, Swords Dance, Lycanroc, D with the Hardstone, Stone Edge, Rock Slide, Swords Dance, and Brick Break. And finally Scouse Zapdos with Volt Switch, Thunderbolt, Air Cutter, and I believe Tailwind. Or it might have been Heat Wave, I'm not too sure. It was one of the two. Either way, it was a move that I didn't click. So yeah, that's the team matchup. Again, he didn't bring Mudsdale, which means I've got a free Volt Switch off, which is why I believe I lead with my Zapdos. Let's just get straight in. There it is, lead Zapdos, as he leads with his Necrozma. Obviously wants to get up his Rocks. As this was my only hazard removal, he can safely get it up right now. As I Volt Switch out, doing a decent amount of damage, which shows that this is indeed either physically defensive or just max HP, max special attack or something like that. It's not specially defensive. I go straight on to Steelix, fearing a Psychic, Ice move, whatever, or if he's getting up his Rocks I can get up mine as well. So we're trading Rocks here, it's all fine and dandy as he gets his Alamola in for free. Again, not too scared about this, kind of wish I had the Toxic on Steelix right now instead of the Hippowdon, but I probably could have stayed in there and roared this out instead of going out into my Zapdos, which is going to start racking up Rocks damage, which isn't the best. He goes for the Scald here. Doesn't get the burn, that does absolutely nothing to me, which shows that this is just a standard defensive one. He takes 62% there, which shows he's got a bit of investment into Spadef. And here I'm thinking, right, he's either going to click Scald, Wish, or maybe even a Toxic. Either way, Megazam can, you know, take the Scald, doesn't care about status, and if he's wishing up, I've got great pressure into his team and I can Miracle Eye on the Muck switch. However, Will had brought a bit of spice, which I completely forgot that Alamola got. I knew Milotic gets this move, I knew quite a few other things get this move, such as Glaceon, but I completely forgot that Alamola gets Miracoat, and I lose my biggest win con of the game in 4 turns to an Alamola, which of course, as a lot of people would say, is less than ideal. I go back into Zapdos, no reason not to click Volt Switch. Maybe could have clicked T-Bolt here, but I felt like his switch into his Milk or something like that was pretty obvious, and I didn't feel like getting that extra bit of damage was worth it. So I Volt Switch out, does 22%, shows it's AV, expected. I go out into Hippowdon, I believe, maybe even Steelix this time. Yeah, Hippowdon it was. Get up the stand, and I believe I either Earthquake or Toxic on this turn, one of the two. I think I Earthquake, and he switches into Alamola. Come on. Yes, there it is. He goes into Alamola, I Earthquake. With the sand damage, it's maybe a 2-hit KO. Oh no, I do go for the Toxic this turn, sorry. And then I Earthquake. I predicted the switch because I'm surprisingly not that bad at the game. Despite the fact that I lost my win con in 4 turns. He goes for the Wish here as I EQ, which then puts him with Toxic and Sand, puts him in range of another Earthquake, and so I feel I can just freely sit in here and click it again. So I take the Scald, no burn, I don't think, no, and I take that like a champ even though I'm not especially defensive, and just kill the Alamola straight up. So that's one less thing to worry about, at least, which means that Weavile has a bit more leeway to do some damage. As he goes out into his Pyro, I know I can't take a hit because I'm physically defensive, and so I sack off my Zapdos at this point as it's of completely no worth to me at 13%. It dies to any sort of priority that his Megalop would have, and it's mainly there for that. So bye bye Zapdos, you did nothing all game, and you got my Mega Alakazam killed. I should have T-bolted on the Alamola, but hey. Lycanroc, as you can see, Shiny Sprite is bugged on this side, it's just blue outline for some reason, which is, you know, fantastic. He switches out into Muck, he has nothing to take a Stone Edge, this just drops. Oh no, Rock Slide, sorry, I didn't want to miss. As it lives on 2%, and I can just safely Rock Slide again. Oh no, it dies to Sandstorm, so that kill goes to Hippowdon, which is nice. yeah, goes out into Necrozma now. I don't believe I Oko this if it's defensive. I don't want to risk it because this is at the moment in time my only win con. I go out into Steelix, which can chew any hit that this has to take, that this can deal out. And he goes for Psychic, which in retrospect I could have set up an SD on, but my Sandstorm was running out anyway and it wasn't worth it. But yeah, now I know that I can set up an SD on this, but there's not really much I can do to deal with it. As I roar it out, and he gets roared out into Sylveon. And here, I don't know if he was expecting me to be defensive or something, so I know I can live a Hyper Voice. I stay in and go for the Heavy Slam as he goes straight back out into the Necrozma, and because it's a heavy boy, this does no damage. 8% hot. It's more than Leftovers recovery, so there's that. As he does reveal the Morning Sun, to be expected. As now I believe I just click Roar again, and he gets roared into his Lopunny, I believe. Yep. Not the best, but it's something that I can maybe take a hit from if it's not high jump kick. So I stay in and click Earthquake as he goes back out into Necrozma. Now here on the Earthquake, he's just above half. I know for a fact he's going to click Psychic, and I go straight out into Weavile, knowing that a knockoff can kill it if it's not Cobbleberry. He's not shown an item yet. I'm expecting that, or Kabir, for it to deal with Mega Alakazam. But he's shown 3 moves. I'm feeling pretty safe that his last one is either Taunt or something of the sort, and not an offensive one. Knockoff crit is the Cobbleberry, and he shows the Brick Break, which is unfortunate. I didn't expect that because I stayed in obviously with Steelix on it for 4 turns, but he hid the play very well, caught me off guard, and that's a kill for Necrozma. Straight back out into Lycanroc. He has no switch-ins once again. I just click Rock Slide and it's dead. At this point he just needs to switch in something that has decent speed, and I'm in a bit of a pickle. As he goes out into his Sylveon, actually, not one of his other mons, which was quite surprising at the time. I just go straight out into Steelix. I don't need it at this point. In hindsight, I could have maybe gone into Bowdon and set up the Sand upon death, and then gone back into Lycanroc, but I don't think it was a... yeah, it was a guaranteed kill, what am I on about? That was what I should have done, and kept Steelix around just in case his Lopunny was a strange set or something. So yeah, that was kind of a misplay, but it was what felt right at the time. Here I set up the Sand, let this die, so yeah, it was definitely the play to just bring this into die, but what can you do? Here go straight out into Lycanroc. At this point it all comes down to whether I crit or flinch his Lopunny. Everything else dies to Rock Slide / Stone Edge. You know, providing a hit, this just drops. Crit doesn't matter. He had to have been specially invested to do that much to Steelix, so that was definitely not the matter. And here I can either go for Brick Break and hope for a crit, or I can go for the Rock Slide, hope for a flinch. I'm going to play the odds here, go for the flinch, because it puts him in range of the next Brick Break. As I do so, and you know me, I'm not going to get the flinch, so it's a shame, but there's not really much I can do about it. He reveals to be a Power Up Punch Last Resort set, so in hindsight, if I did keep Steelix around, I maybe had a chance. Well, I had a chance to bring it down to a 1-0. Well played, Will. You definitely brought some things that I didn't expect, namely the Miracle Alamomola, which I completely forgot was a thing, which I really shouldn't, but you know. Necrozma as well, he hid the set very well, so once again he sort of not out-prepped me, but caught me off guard at the very least, and got rid of 2 of my stronger mons in the late game. So yeah, it's unfortunate, but we start off with a loss, not a big loss. It's telling of sort of a strength that this team has to pressure quite heavily, especially against such a defensive-oriented team, but it still shows its weaknesses in the fact that I am just bad with it at the moment. I'm not quite used to a lot of these mons. The only one I think I've used before is Steelix, so yeah, it might take a bit of time to adjust to, but hopefully if I get a decent matchup with a few of the mons that I'm more comfortable with, then I can do better. But yeah, starting off 2-0 loss, not too great, but not too bad. We'll take those. It's easy to come back from. So yeah, next week I can't remember who I'm facing, to be honest. I think no, it's not Rufus. Rufus is a bit later on. So yeah, I'm not sure who I face next week. You'll see then, obviously, or unless my opponent for next week mentions it in their video this week. I might put it in the description if I remember to do so. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.